Okay, and we're live now, and I'll wait a little bit for hopefully a few people to join. I don't want to totally just be talking to myself. Okay, but I don't know. Maybe this is just not a good time to do it. Maybe this is just not a time when people are around when I would take Jasmine for a walk. Maybe it has to be in the evening. Maybe the subject is for scrap people. We'll find out. Oh, hi there. Good to see you. Okay. Now I've got at least one person here who's eager to hear um, my commentary or my analysis. So, if you have any questions, or as I said, this is a ask me anything. So I won't subject you to her taking a crap. There's already enough crap to deal with and look at. It's not what you signed up for. Okay, Jazzy, come on. And just for some context here, we are in the Paradise neighborhood at the edge of Yucca Valley. To the left there, you go to get to Joshua Tree and Joshua Tree National Park. And that's what these are, of course, spiky trees, Joshua trees. Cholla, those little short, beautiful cacti. And then you go down that way to get into Yucca Valley proper, the actual town itself. There's also Home Depot and Walmart over there. Oh, Jazzy. Oh, no, you got a thing in here? Okay, let's get that out. Okay. All good, girl? Let's check these paws. Okay. Some areas are better. Oh, no. Oh, that's a bad one. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's not good. Jazzy, you okay? Sure there's any. No. Not good. Get those out. Okay. Here we go, girl. You all right? Not good. Okay. Okay. All good now. She is a tough desert dog. Getting little stickers in her feet or things. She just gets on going. Anyway, talking about the Iran war. There's this strange confusion right now about why did this actually happen? Why did Donald Trump decide to supposedly go to war with Iran? I say supposedly because if we're just dumping a bunch of bombs and supporting Israel, and we're not actually sending troops over there, and we don't actually have an extended mission, is it really a war with Iran, or is it just backing up Israel in taking out Iran? I wrote a little piece that I published yesterday laying out kind of 7 reasons for like why this happened, and it was all roundabout way of saying that um, this helps Donald Trump's business interests. And I was just telling my dad when he and I were talking on the phone just now. My dad, whose politics are more to the left than mine, um, we used to be in sync, but then I went right, which is another story. But anyway, I was um, we've been much more in sync lately, of course, with Trump, and being able to be a pretty similar analysis. Um, but I was telling him, okay, it's funny that as right wing as I am and have been known for, and mentored by these infamous ex Marxists of their generation, and I'm doing in explaining the Iran war, I'm just doing a traditional Marxist analysis, but I'm not doing that ideologically like I am a Marxist and just need to see economics and economic interests behind everything. No, Marxism is just one tool in the toolkit, and sometimes it's appropriate for analyzing stuff. It's better Marxist analysis instead of Marxist revolution in politics. A lot of people can't, most people can't distinguish between the two, and that's understandable. It's understandable, but it is still a legitimate way to analyze the world, and it's particularly relevant and necessary when you have the direct evidence for it. Like, this isn't just me wanting to make the case so that this is why this is happening. That's just the way the facts fall. That this appears to very clearly, we know that it's been reported that both um, future king of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, and Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, both supported the strike. And we know, oh, got a Roadrunner. Cool. We'll get some Roadrunner action. Roadrunner action and war commentary. Two for the price of one. We know that his business interests are tied up both of those areas, and that it is to his benefit directly, financially. So this isn't like the Iraq war where people are like, oh, this Bush Cheney helping their business cronies. This is very directly Trump himself benefits because he has so many. Trump himself, it benefits so much. It's awesome. Get this close with the Roadrunner. I love these guys. They are so cool. So cool. And he's just chilling out. He's not. Yeah. Jazzy girl. Come on. Hey, buddy. You get some bonus Roadrunner footage along with the political comment. Oh, you got something in your feet, girl? Let's get that out. Clean on all these feet. Okay. It's one of the things about stairway. She will sometimes get things in her feet, and you gotta go. Where did the roadrunner go? Well, there it is. Isadora, we got some roadrunner action. But just so you get the political Iran war commentary that you came in for, I think you already saw it with my article, but from reading the articles this morning and doing the podcasts, you watch the Bulwark, and that's pretty similar to my views. It's just very incoherent, the messaging that we've been getting, that some people like Hegseth been saying, oh no, this isn't nation building, this isn't regime change. And then Trump himself says, yes, this is regime change. Because they can't just be honest that the Saudis and the Israelis and the UAE have asked for this. And it is to their benefit more than it is to ours. Jazzy, feet okay still? Okay, where'd the thing go? Oh, there it is. Still there. So Trump can't just be honest about this. And this is another thing that's, I mean, totally illegal, too. Another illegal war. But he doesn't care. When did something being illegal ever stop him? Okay, where did it go? Oh, there it is. So yeah, we can all. Oh, Jazzy, you got something? Another one in your paw? Over here, girl. Got. Uh. Okay. Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay. Small one. Jazzy, no, let's go this way. It's over here. I wonder if it is the same one that I filmed previously that's come over right to this same spot. It would sort of make sense, wouldn't it? Political commentary turned bird watching. Isn't that tail just magnificent? Yeah, there he goes. Nice. We get the Roadrunner so imprinted on us as kids with the cartoon, and so you can't help but see them that way. And they are. I don't know how much we feel that way about him, because of the cartoon. Oh, there it goes. No, I don't think you can hear probably the chirping sound that it's making now. I think it might be trying to tell me to go away. I think it might be telling us you've had enough footage. Okay, fair enough. I feel like it's done this before. I'll be filming it. He'll be annoyed. Okay, you've got enough. And I'll just jump over here and go in the tree. So the fantasy that seems to be being peddled by the Trump people in this Iran war is they think that they can just initiate regime change without putting any American soldiers on the ground. That if they just bomb all the right leaders and all the right weapons, then the people can just rise up. That seems to be the theory that Trump is operating by and that Exit is operating by because they can't put troops on the ground. It's they won't be able to get that authorization. American people don't want it. So they're just hoping that if they, knock out enough pieces at the bottom of the Jenga puzzle, that the regime will collapse and then money will flow. And that's not going to happen. That's probably not going to happen because we can't predict what's going to happen because there's too many variables in play to predict what's going to happen. When missiles are shot from one place to another and drones go from one place to another, we don't know how big the body count's going to be. And that's what determines a lot of this stuff, how many people actually die. Because if nobody dies, then seemingly no big deal when a projectile is sent to fly or wherever. But if there's major damage and major casualties, then that's going to have major effect. I'm trying to let her mostly decide where she wants to go. Come on, girl, let's go. Another point that I emphasized in my article yesterday is the whole winners concept. Um, and that's something that a lot of people have observed over the years when analyzing Donald Trump and sometimes being confused about, like, well, he's seemingly said this or this has been his position, but he's all of a sudden changed. And why is that? And what's he doing? And oftentimes the explanation is pretty basic that some people sometimes just determine, oh, looks like this side is going to win, um, so I may as well align myself with them because they're the stronger horse. in Middle East terminology, the strong horse is what gets talked about. The idea that one of the countries is strong and tough and can take it, and that influences how things are viewed in the Middle East. Strong horse. Now, they're actually, since I published my piece, I would need to add another potential variable on this, which some people have pointed out, watching Bulwark podcasts and has reported. Another factor, revenge. Trump knows that Iran has tried to assassinate him a couple times, so he foolishly thinks, oh, I'll get him before he gets me. I guess that's what he supposedly said. As was one of the justifications. Daniel, thanks for joining us. Come on, girl. Good timing, too, because I was just beginning a discourse on factor in the launch of this Iran war that I've just learned about today since the publishing of my piece about this yesterday, talking about the reasons why this happened, since the administration hasn't been able to be honest about why they did it. And one of the reasons I think is entirely legitimate. One of the times when Trump, he doesn't lie all the time. Sometimes, he's not thinking, so he'll just let things slip. But this is understandable that one of the reasons why he approved the attack, part of it was just to kill the Ayatollah. And supposedly as revenge for him being targeted with multiple assassination attempts. That's understandable. That's entirely understandable. And he would do that. However, it's a massive mistake. And the reason generally other presidents don't do that. They know that there's assassination attempts. Why don't they do this? Well, because actually Trump has made it more dangerous for himself. In trying to potentially get revenge for or prevent future assassination attempts, he's actually made it more likely. Okay, okay. I will not subject you all to that. He's made it more likely the attempts will be made on him. We've already seen one shooting with a guy that had Iran flag and property of Allah. We're going to probably see more. This is a nice little area for us to walk in. And this is better. So, at least positive side of this is that Trump appears to be deferring to what Israel wants. Now, funny thing about this sort of funny, sad thing, I mentioned this. Some people think, well, but why is Israel making Trump do this? Or how are they forcing him to do this? And a lot of people think that the Mossad has been behind Epstein this whole time, and that Epstein was really a Mossad agent collecting compromising information on all wealthy Americans, including Trump, so that Israel could control them. That's what people want to think. But no, as I've talked about previously, the evidence from the last Epstein file drop really solidified not that Epstein was a Soviet agent or anything like that, but that as an asset, the concept that somebody can be kind of used by an intelligence agency without being employed by them, and they can get information from. But in terms of the interests, Jeffrey Epstein was largely aligned with Russian interest, and in the final years of his life, particularly with Arab monarchy interests. I'm going to be digging into that more. I've done a little bit of writing about that. Um, but there isn't just a lot of evidence that it was really Israel behind it. And there doesn't need to be blackmail to get him to do it. The more you learn and study about espionage, there's many tools that spy agencies have to get people to do things that benefit them. And as with many things in life, the carrot is easier than the stick. So Israel has no need to blackmail Trump to get him to do things for them when he already likes them, even though he is anti Semitic. That's a funny thing, isn't it? That's something people like to argue about, particularly left wing and right wing Jews. They argue about, is Trump anti Semitic or not? Well, I don't want to run to those dogs over there. Let's get back. Yeah, I don't like going in our neighborhood. Dogs. Yeah, let's go back this way. I want to put my luck. So here we go. So hot content now. This will get me in trouble. Is Donald Trump anti-Semitic? And people, left-wing Jews will say, "Oh, absolutely," and right-wing will say, "No, of course not." Look at his daughter converted to Judaism. He has Jewish grandchild, and et cetera, et cetera. Um, so who's right? And the answer is the left-wing Jews are, because Trump has said things that are genuinely anti-Semitic, and it is clear that he has the viewpoint that, like, oh, Jews are just good with money, 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 money. They're good with it, so I'll be allied with the term philo-Semite. A lot of people think, oh, I'm a supporter of the Jews, I'm a philo-Semite. And the quote about this, Deborah Lipstadt has said, and maybe it was somebody else that she was quoting or citing, a philo-Semite is an anti-Semite who likes Jews. Let me unpack that a little bit, because people don't understand exactly how that would work. An anti-Semite who likes Jews? That sounds like a contradiction in terms, doesn't it? No, I'll explain that. There's a bunch of stereotypes, anti-Semitic stereotypes about Jewish people. Some of them are often contradictory, or it's stereotype for one will be not a stereotype for another culture. But the stereotype that, oh, the Jews they have money and they're manipulating things and they're clever and deceitful and so on, all of those negative stereotypes for some people are going to be positive stereotypes for somebody else. Come on, girl. How's it going? Great. So that's how that works. That and Trump falls into that category. That since he's already a money obsessed, duplicitous person, and if he has the stereotype in his head that Jews are too, but just, oh, I want to work with other people that are duplicitous and untrustworthy like me. That's not exactly being that's not exactly a rejection of anti-Semitism. It's also worth pointing out too. I always like to bring up the Roy Cohn connection. with Donald Trump and what a big inspiration Roy Cohn was. Roy Cohn's anti-Semitic, self-hating Jew, and that's um, so that perspective is what influenced Trump, not Jewish people that are infused with Jewish values, that know their Torah. If anybody has any questions, this isn't Ask Me Anything, so feel free. But I hope that was useful to some people who may be interested in that perspective. And how can Trump be pro-Israel, allied with Israel, while at the same time harboring and stating many things that are clearly anti-Semitic? And that explains it. It's admittedly an unusual perspective you don't see as often, but you do get it in far right circles among far right people, and I have encountered it before. It's really jarring. It's really jarring. Jasmine, let's go around this way so we're giving people more interesting scenery, more diversity, and particularly the wonderful mountain view over here. But yeah, on this subject of the far right anti-Semitic person that manifests as philo-Semitism. Oh yeah, we're doing more bird watching. Here you get some crows. Awesome. A number of years ago, I was trying to help launch a nonprofit for an author friend of mine. We're not friends anymore after the failure to help launch it. And part of the challenge of the group was that a bunch of people that knew his work were just thrown together. Like, oh, we're all fans of his work for different reasons and we're around the world. So let's try and make this organization around this author, promote the author's books and ideas. And one of the people that ended up getting thrown into the group, I soon discovered, um, was far right and um, was interested in being in this group with a Jewish author um, because he had some of these philo-Semitic ideas. But he was really into, and he was French far right, into um, genetics type ideas and ethno this type ideas. So for him, even though he had these racialized views, seeing Jews as a race instead of a people, so difficult for people that want to stick anti-Semitism in the anti-racism focus like bucket and deal with it as though it's just the same thing as any other kind of ethnic bigotry. It doesn't work that way because the concept of being a Jew predates the concept of race. There's something controversial to talk about. I'm wandering around talking things with the whole idea of different races of people. 19th century invention, largely. Maybe with some pieces developing it before then. Science, it took early science to have you needed science first to be able to have the idea of racism. People forget that, or a lot of us are just so trained and normalized in it. Forget that it's paradigm. It's based on fake science. Jasmine, girl, come on. Come on, girl, let's go. Okay. I've made some controversial statements about anti Semitism, about race and racism, but they're really not controversial. I'm just summarizing the history, summarizing the mainstream history. And anybody learns, you read any history books about how racist ideas develop. Yeah, student of sciences, they're all over the place. And that then apply get misused too, particularly to try and understand Jewish achievement and why are there so many Jewish doctors, Jewish innovators, and Jewish Nobel Prize winners, and all of that. And when people are oriented to see intelligence and achievement primarily in a genetics context, that, oh, people end up certain ways because of their genes primarily, then there's the tendency to want to do that with Jewish people and look to that as an explanation. When really it doesn't take long to come across the alternate explanation, the cultural capital explanation, Thomas Sowell, cultural capital, the simple idea that certain cultural traits, certain oh, I was worried for a second. I was looking over there at where the graffiti is at, and I was seeing a big thing, and it was actually just a truck stop. Okay, good. Certain cultural traits are more likely to create wealth, happiness, prosperity, health, etc., than other cultural traits. It's a very so-called politically incorrect idea. The idea that not all cultures produce equal results, but it's true. It's self-evidently true that somebody who embraces a culture that values reading books, getting up early, and writing, and cultures like that are going to be very different than cultures that value getting drunk and beating people up. You're going to get very different results. But too, with this paradigm, when you realize this, then you realize, oh, it's everyone's choice which culture they choose to accept or reject. But just because somebody's born into a culture, it doesn't mean they're trapped in it. People can reject it from within. They may be stuck in it physically for some time, but in their mind, they can be an outsider. All cultures will have this. People that know they need to get out as soon as they can, that see through the BS of their own culture. Not all cultures, but the majority. Yeah, there's something else controversial said. Carl, hey, how's it going? Something else that I said, since I'm saying controversial things on this podcast, that most cultures are terrible. I take the position that most people are terrible. Terrible meaning the conventional definition of the term. Not everyone, just maybe 75% or so, if I'm depending on how strict we want to be. Hey, Jazzy girl. Back now to our apartment. Ugh. Jazzy girl. Sweetheart, come here. Jazzy, sweetheart girl. So, as I was saying, most cultures are terrible. Because why most cultures die out. Most civilizations die out. Most languages die out. Empires fall. Jazzy, you get out of there. I need to fill that. She's I'm digging some holes. I need to fill these. That would require buying a shovel. Jazzy. So Jasmine is a mix of hit, boxer, and German Shepherd. So she's fast, she's tough, and she's sweet. And she's an amazing guard dog. Perpetually on the lookout, on defense for us, and also very, very snuggly, very playful, loves to play. Yes, she does. Yes, the Jazzy girl loves to play. Tough dog. Her pain tolerance is such that I get worried about her, that she's just ignoring the pain or there's something wrong that she's hence why I check her feet all the time, but mostly just try and stay away from those areas. But fast, tough, sweet. Oh, sure, nobody has any questions or comments? Because I can sound off on some other controversial issue. Controversial, but oh, further bird watching. I don't know if the bird sounds are going through, if it's muting it. It's probably muting it because this is focused on like talk. Yeah, as I was saying, um controversial views and some cultural corners, but not in the ones where I've made a career since 2008, 2009, depending on when I want to start the clock. No, I've done a lot of reading and thinking and writing about racism and anti Semitism and enough to be able to write about it and sell articles professionally for years now. Got to understand these things. So I think I do, confident enough, but I'll just state my views. And I know that they will be offensive to a number of people, and that's okay. Because the polling shows, that my just identifying as a Zionist, that cuts me off at about 25% of people, 20 to 25%, depending on the polls, do not want to be friends with somebody that identifies as a Zionist. I lost friends over the Gaza war, blocked me, and real friends too. not just Facebook friends. But it's okay because it made sense. Well, there's my "We Stand with Israel" flag. Now I've had out here so many years that it's purple. There we go. That's the Mojave version, purple, out in the sun so long. Let's see, what are some other things that should be said here? Here's something I'll throw out for your consideration, and maybe this will get clipped into one of these short clips. Um, One of the things about this Iran war is that it's both Israel and Saudi Arabia pushing Trump. And of course, it's both Israel and Saudi Arabia and the UAE that have tons of business interests with Trump and the Trump family. And of course, we're all familiar with the Abraham Accords and UAE having made peace with Israel. Oh, John, my buddy, it's great to see you. I'll stick around a little bit more for you. You're all lucky that John jumped on. Now I've got extra incentive to stay on rambling a little bit. Okay. So as I was saying, um, everybody likes the idea of Saudi Arabia and Israel making peace. Won't that be the great thing to happen? Expansion of the Israel Accords with the big, most prominent, most influential Arab nation coming on board. What could be wrong about that? Who would object to that? Well, I'm not objecting to it so much as just making sure that everybody is still seeing these countries with eyes wide open, that these are monarchies, absolute monarchies, unchecked, tyrannical, really gangster states, miniature desert versions of Vladimir Putin wannabes. So let's not think that just because these monarchies are seeing that it's finally in their interest to make peace with Israel and do business and military deals and all of that, and particularly in this situation here, that it's been Iran destabilizing the Middle East for decades and decades. That's been the central issue. And much of the world just hasn't realized it. So much of American dialogue has always been about the Israeli Palestinian conflict and people thinking that, oh, if you can just figure out how to solve that, then things will fall in place after that. And I learned, well, she's chasing after some bug or something. And I learned very early on when working with the late, great Barry Rubin. I went to work with at Pajamas Media. He was the Middle East editor. He told me, and I will pass on to you, that the issue with Iran is the primary problem in the Middle East, and the Palestinian conflict is a sideshow. And we're seeing it now because you take away the money funding the fighting, and it kind of dries up then. People think, there's the cliche that, oh, if you kill one terrorist, then it creates 10 more. Well, for terrorist groups to function, they need hundreds of millions of dollars. People have this idea in their heads of like, oh, a terrorist group is just the 9/11 hijackers, and like, oh, that's all you need, and then you're a terrorist group. No, hundreds of millions to fund Hamas and Hezbollah. So once you actually take apart that infrastructure, it's not like it can just pop up again super quickly. It takes time to establish terrorist army. Jazzy girl. So you take out the money that's been funding the terrorism. Iran, the top sponsor of terrorism around the world for decades. You take that out. It's like you take away the gasoline for the explosion, for the fire. Yeah, it's really cool. The little handhold thing I've got, it just slides out and instantly becomes a little tripod. So then I can have handless. Yeah. Oh, hey, Susan. It's great to see you. Well, now if you just arrived, then I'll keep streaming for a little bit longer. I was going to try and wrap up, but if you're here, do you have any questions? Just go ahead. Just to recap, my summary of why the Iran war has happened is because it's in Donald Trump's business interests. That's it. He realizes that Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE want him to do this, so he will. And this is foolish, of course, because we don't know what it's going to unleash. But that's why they can't be open and honest about it. That's why one part of the administration says we are doing nation building, the other says we're not, because they can't present an explanation of it. Because if they could have, they would have gone through Congress. This would have been a normal thing. This would have been a normal war. But we're now in an era of open banditry for the US government. We're a gangster government. Donald Trump wants to operate like Vladimir Putin does and like these Arab monarchies do. That's essentially what we're getting right now. Is this the way to do it? Geopolitical analysis while playing with puppy? We used to always talk about spoonful of sugar makes the medicine go down in blog world. Use that to justify putting out clickbait and fun crap to try and draw people into the serious political content. Yeah, that was a rationalization. Cutie girl. Usually don't come out and film here because we don't have a particularly impressive yard. I haven't done anything to like, it's just our apartment. And I figured out eventually, I mean, I tried to set up things out here, or tried to make it like a cool area. At one point, I was like trying to do something over here. I was going to make like a pile or do something, but like I was thinking, oh, can I do like some little Zen garden or something? No, that's not going to work because we're right by the highway. And this street, this street out here that we live on is pretty busy, both cars driving through and with foot traffic. So I will come out here sometimes and read a book, give Jasmine a little time out in the yard. But I realized this is not going to be at all usable as an area to hang out. Or, I mean, I'll let her come out here on her own for a little bit sometimes, just let her out to the bathroom, come get her. But it's not a fun place to hang out. But I don't know, we may figure out something that we can do. I may make it a little bit nicer now that I'm experimenting with this silly live streaming format. Jazzy, are you out of gas? You probably want to go in and get some to drink, I bet. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up now. I'm really going to try tonight and launch the Right Wing Book Club. I think I've got everything set up now to do an initial installment, going through that and starting to talk about that. Finally starting to feel a little bit better. Some of you know that I've been really struggling with anxiety since the miscarriage and the family drama that's followed. Um, it's just oftentimes hard to focus and hard to write, hard to read, hard to get out of the house. Don't like driving. I have to gear myself up to go out on these walks. But I'm starting to get better. And as I will feel better, I'm going to be upping the podcasting more and hopefully getting back to writing more. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Really appreciate you all. Very encouraging. And be back soon. Everybody take care.